What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 11 of the Elephant Wire Podcast, the show where we break down song lyrics and don't play you a damn second of the song because major labels are thieving babies that would sue us up the ass. Today, we have a special guest with us, my homeboy Etienne from San Diego, California. On this week's episode is also a first for us as we discuss a discography in its entirety. We are going to be breaking down the one, the only, Open Mike Eagle. Let's fucking get some.
Welcome to the Elephant Wire Podcast. Music, drugs, laughter, lyrics.
Hey!
Heyo!
It worked.
It works.
It only took us 2 tries, but we got it.
Yeah. Yep.
Stick-to-itiveness, I think, is what they refer to that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, what's up, everybody? Jake, host of the Elephant Wire Podcast. I got Etienne with me, my very special friend from San Diego, California. Etienne, it's good to have you here.
Howdy. Thanks for having me.
I brought Etienne onto the podcast because Etienne is quite knowledgeable in 2 areas, and that is art and that is rap. And these are 2 areas. And these are 2 areas that, as we go forward with this episode of Open Mike Eagle, you'll realize that these 2 go very hand in hand when we talk about Open Mike Eagle. But right off the bat, Etienne, I usually, whenever I bring someone on the podcast, I give a little background of our history together and how we know each other, and we can skip most of it. We can just skip right to the high points. And Etienne and I worked together at this brewery out in California together. That's how we initially met each other. And we would spend basically our entire shift dicking around, not really getting a whole lot done, mainly listening to music. At one point, we were watching a lot of movies. A whole bunch of shit just fell in my house. I don't know what it was. We'll figure it out later. I hope everyone's okay. But yeah, at one point we were writing movies, and I wanted to share this one because as many movies as Etienne and I basically made it all the way to the storyboard stage. I think the best one that we ever wrote was at one point we came up with an idea to write a mockumentary. I don't know if you remember this or not. I'm sure you remember this. But we wrote a mockumentary about the fact that the second coming of Jesus actually happened. Do you remember this one?
I'm remembering now. Yeah.
Because we pitched it to basically the entire team at the brewery and got very mixed reviews, actually. Either people were head over heels about it, or people went, But basically the premise of the movie was that the second coming of Jesus actually happened. When it was going to be, like I said, it was going to be a mockumentary. It was going to be Etienne and I, just Vice News style, just guerrilla warfare, hitting the ground, figuring this shit out. You know, like, I don't know who gave us this little tidbit of knowledge, how to point us in the right direction. But we, at the very beginning of the documentary, we fly to Vietnam because we find out that the second coming of Christ, he actually came back, but it was in like 1969. So the world was super busy or like on a bunch of LSD. So no one noticed. So he ended up getting drafted into Vietnam. And then because of his ability to cook with not a lot amount of food for a lot of people, he got put in the mess hall. And he didn't die in in battle, because we were even going to go, at one point we were talking about we were going to go to the Vietnam Wall, like the memorial in Washington, D.C., and we're going to point out, like, it was going to say Jesus H. Christ. We're going to look, there he is. How did no one notice this the whole time? But yeah, the worst part was that in the mockumentary we said that he tripped coming out of the back of the kitchen, and the way he actually died in Vietnam was he fell, and his hands, he hit 2 rusty nails, and he ended up dying of lead poisoning. I was so, you know, it was pretty heavy, you know, but it was gonna be great. It was gonna be so good, and you know, no one steal that idea, because we could still totally make that movie. Maybe we'll get Mike Eagle to fund it for us. Who knows? Oh my God. Yeah, those were good times. We wrote coming of age movie for Etienne. That was going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
It was mainly just a whole bunch of new wave music with Etienne chain smoking.
Yeah, and I had a sweet earring, if I remember.
You did. You had a sweet earring that doubled as a dream catcher, if I remember.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was too much. But let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Mike Eagle. I got the 2-screen thing going, so I'm not like upskirting someone. I'm actually reading on another screen.
Anyway.
But getting right into it, Mike Eagle, born Michael W. Eagle II. He is originally from Chicago, Illinois, now residing in the Los Angeles area, the greater Los Angeles area. I looked for his mailing address. I could not actually find it. I thought about texting you, because it's just, you know, LA is just right there, you know, from San Diego.
Oh yeah. Just small John.
But I was gonna have you go stake out his PO box, see if we could, you know, get him on here. But I don't know. You're busy. I didn't want to put too much on your plate.
I appreciate that, because I'm very busy.
I was gonna mail you some PBJ sandwiches to keep, you know, so you could have something that, you know, I was gonna mail them to his PO box. So yeah, and that was where the confusion, because if Mike Eagle's listening, I'm really sorry that you got like 13 PBJ sandwiches in your PO box. That's on me. I meant to send them to Etienne, but I got confused because I got real stoned and I forgot the plan, and it was like a whole thing. But anyway, Mike Eagle went to SIU University. So like I said, he's originally from Chicago. He went downstate to Carbondale, Illinois, where Southern Illinois University is. And I was going to bring this up because while he was there, he majored in psychology. And I feel like as we start to get into some lyrics in the second half of this episode, I feel like this is going to probably come up a couple times. But it's really interesting because, you know, like most state schools, it's obviously, you know, forward thinking, and, you know, that's just how learning centers in general tend to operate. But the area itself where he decided to go, you goofy goober. The area itself where he decided to go is you might as well be in Indiana down there. And so it's a lot of the lyrics that Mike Eagle talks about in his songs, I mean, the area where he was going to school is kind of a hotbed of a lot of racial tension, as far as downstate Illinois is concerned. And it's also really funny, too, in his song that he does with Hannibal Buress, when he says, if you're ever down in Southern Illinois, cop a mixtape from DJ Snowy Boo Boo.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I started researching this episode, I was like, oh, he went to school in downstate Illinois. That's how okay, cool. But like I said, I mean, like, for him that he majored in psychology, I would definitely say that shines through in a lot of his lyrics, the way he goes about addressing certain things. Because a lot of times when he brings up specific topics, he doesn't come at it like a layman. You know, he uses specific terms in his linguistics, if you will. I found that very interesting. And then, like I said when I first introduced you, the reason I brought you on here for this episode specifically, not just because you introduced me to Open Mike Eagle, because I wanted to give you a chance right here, because Open Mike Eagle's first album was called Unapologetic Art Rap.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, you are an authority on both art and rap. So I found it only fitting that that you be the man to bring on here. But like I said, I wanted to give you a second. I wanted to give you a second to talk about whenever you saw Open Mike Eagle. Because I was trying to remember, you were at the Casbah?
I was at the Casbah, yeah. I was at the Casbah, October 2017. I looked it up.
Oh, okay. Research.
Yeah. And who opened was Billy Woods and DJ Artistic. So,
Oh, how about that?
Information.
So you just looked up the show poster, basically.
yeah. I looked at it, I was like, oh, this doesn't. I can't remember that. Then I looked at my ticket stub and I was like, oh yeah.
This all adds up. Okay. Well, yeah, I remember you telling me about that show. You were like, you kind of just ended up there, if I remember correctly. Like, it wasn't like you sought it out.
No, it's kind of I was just starting to get into Open Mike Eagle, and somehow the show, I came across the show and it was coming up and it was cheap and it was at the Casbah. Like, sounds perfect.
Just checking them off, man. Like, okay, this works.
Yeah. Hit up the buddy Tommy. You've met Tommy.
Hell yeah. Good people, Tommy.
Going to shows, so we both went, and yeah, man, it was rad. The Casbah, the stage is so small, and you're like, you're touching Open Mike Eagle. It's pretty wild.
He's right there.
Right there.
Right there.
And yeah, man, it was nice. It was a good night.
Right on, man. I can dig it. Yeah, it's funny thinking of like a venue like that when like Mike Eagle's song about ripped pants at Soundcheck. Like, if he had ripped pants at that show, it
would have been an even better show.
Oh my God, chaos, controlled chaos, but chaos. Yes, absolutely. Well, a couple of things I wanted to throw out there. Mike Eagle has started to branch out. He's going a lot of directions, not just rap. In Adventure Time's 10th season, he appeared as the son of Rap Bear. I did not have a chance to go watch that episode. I have not seen it, but I can only imagine. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. Yeah. Not recently, but I saw those episodes, and the rapping on Adventure Time is pretty good.
Well, it's funny. Because like, as I was picturing this, I was also picturing Rick and Morty whenever Rick has Logic play a party.
That's
and
right.
Logic just starts rapping about like, have I been paid yet? Like, motherfuckers, what's going on? Why am I here? So I was just picturing those types of things going on.
Yeah, I think at one point they beat someone so bad in a battle that their like legs pop off or something like that. Like, they lose their arms and legs.
Well, he is a gingerbread man, so that happens very easily.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, right on. In 2017, Comedy Central greenlit a show called The New Negroes. It was a stand-up and musical kind of variety show, and it was hosted by Open Mike Eagle and Baron Vaughn. And it was a show with music videos. Mike Eagle would have a new song every week that he would perform, and he had a ton of different hip hop artists on there. Like, I was looking at the list. Like, you got MF Doom, Danny Brown, Fonte, Lizzo. He had some serious motherfuckers rolling through there, and every one of those cats too is hilarious. Like Lizzo. That girl's crazy and hilarious, dude. And I can only imagine, like, the two, not so much what even made it on the air, but the two of them just in a room, just like, what do we do with this? That's too goofy, man. That is too goofy. And then, like, also to be a fly on the wall, to, like, be in the room when MF Doom, like, takes his mask off, like, that'd be so sick.
Oh, they're rad. You just see the marks where the mask just hits his face constantly. You know, it's like here he is.
Like where the mask is, it's just baby skin,
Yeah,
just
yeah. It was
so
super
smooth.
smooth.
And then just pores, just open pores where the mask is not. Oh my God. Get this man aloe vera. What is going on? But I mean, this is just like just a couple of things that we've named so far. I mean, like obviously Mike Eagle stays incredibly busy because he's started his own podcast network, and he's got a couple different shows. What Had Happened Was and Super Duty Tough Work are a couple of the shows that he does on there. The guy is on Instagram Live constantly, doing little DJ sets around the house, whatever he's got going on. He's on Twitter constantly. He's one of the easiest cats to keep up with as far as what he's got going on in the game and what he's working on. But all of that aside, just his rap career, this is some of the most incredible. And actually, I think whenever I pulled up these statistics, because I started working on this episode quite a while ago, I think whenever I pulled up these statistics, it didn't have his newest album on it. So if I need to be corrected on this one, I'll correct it next episode. But at the moment, Mike Eagle has released 11 studio albums, 7 EPs, 2 singles, and has over 50 features.
That's pretty wild.
That is absolutely bonkers. Like now, I understand how the rap game goes, like especially nowadays. Like features, like there are certain artists who will literally for the first 2 years of their career, they do a mixtape and then they just do like 30 features before they ever release their own album. Like I understand how the rap game works nowadays versus, even, I don't know, 5-10 years ago. Like it has, like this is an incredibly recent, once trap really started taking over as a mainstream, not even just as rap, but like as a mainstream like icon, just trap music in general. I think that's when we really started to see shit like that, was like features being like a staple of someone's career. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, 50 features is absolutely insane. But that aside, I mean, like 11 albums, 7 EPs, 2 singles. His first album came out in 2010. That was his first studio album. But I think what I want to jump into next, because, I mean, we could sit here and talk all day about how busy he is and how cool the guy is and how much we want to hang out with him. And if he's listening, hey, what's up, dude? But we could sit here and do that all day. But at the same time, I think one of the main actual discussions that I wanted to get into with you, and I'm pretty sure this is a discussion we've got into before, is it worth our time to even try to find the line between good rap and poetry? Because like I said, I mean, like in good rap, the flow of everything, obviously with the beat going on, the flow of lyrics and the flow of music, obviously these two are culminating and they're rising and falling, to where with poetry, whether it's being read aloud, you have voice inflection, but at the same time, like I said, I mean, like where is the line between solid, like good rap, storytelling, like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, cats like this, like Open Mike Eagle, Milo, let's throw him in there. Definitely want to throw out there Code of the Friend. He's another cat like that, where the flow of their lyrics is so poetic as it goes, that it's not so reliant on the beat. The beat almost takes a back seat. And I think I wanted to get your take on that, because as I've been discussing this with myself, in preparation for this episode, I think that's about the only dividing line that I can find. I don't know what your take on that might be.
I think just like when I talk about, more, visual arts or, painting, sculpture, that kind of thing, it's really just about intent. It's if the artist is making is making art and what he made is art, then it's art, you know? So if you're a rapper and you consider yourself a rapper and you're considering what you made a poem, then it's a poem. I mean, whether or not it's good or not, you know, that's up to the viewer. So it's really just about it. I would say it's all about intent. So I mean,
I can get behind that.
Which is it's sort of a bullshit answer, but really it's true. None of it really matters. So if whoever makes it gets to decide, you know.
Well, I don't think it's a bullshit answer at all, because I've always, you know, for a long time I felt that art is by definition narcissistic and by definition is selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, one of those things, like you said, like if someone finds value in the art that I made, like great, that's cool. Like I'm glad you enjoy it. But even then, you know, like when I was making music, like if I do a painting, like that shit was for me.
Right.
I did that for me. And once I think exactly what you're saying is, you know, when you have a rapper that, you know, is coining the phrase of their own style of art rap, I think at its very birth, if you will, of any song, then yes, we have now ventured into the side of poetry.
Right.
Because I even still, I mean, like it's weird to, I don't know if it's weird. I mean, and this is one of those areas where like I'm not involved enough in the game. I've never been asked to join in the game. I've never like, so, because I was about to say, like, I don't necessarily know that I would just call Open Mike Eagle a rapper. I mean, yes, he's so many other things. That's not really my point. I'm talking about his music in general. I would say he's a hip hop artist.
Right.
Because I mean, like to pigeonhole just he's a rapper, it's very different. I mean, he even has lyrics about this, you know, but don't call me a rapper. Like, and you know, however satirical or however, you know, maybe in the context of that one song, whatever it may be, as a whole, I honestly wouldn't call him that. I would definitely call him a hip hop artist, because, you know, as he even coined himself, I mean, he's art rap, if anything. And, you know, one conversation that we used to get into quite often was, you know, as far as art rap is concerned, because one of the things I wanted to bring up was I actually went to an art rap party at Etienne's art studio, where there are, I think it was one of the most beautiful evenings I've ever had, because there was just blurred lines everywhere. There was art, there was rap, there was, it's any time where I get to be the only white guy in the room, that is my favorite place to be. I mean, always. I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. And, you know, like I said, I mean, a conversation that we would get into so many times is like, once you start blurring lines between even mediums of art, that's when you really start to have a good time, you know?
Mm-hmm. True.
Whenever you start, I mean, like you were saying, like, you know, a sculptor or a painter or whatever it is, whatever they decided it was going to be whenever they made it, that's actually what it is. It doesn't really matter how it gets translated from there.
Right.
And I think it's so funny, because like that's literally what this podcast is about. It's like translating other people's art. But hey, you know, it's we understand it's all subjective. I bring it up every now and again, you know. You can't actually know what the lyricist meant, but but yeah, I think it'd be fantastic if we started getting into some lyrics. I think it'd be dope.
That's it.
So, obviously, I think it would be so, I mean, we kind of, I say we're looking at his whole discography. However, I think it would be a foolhardy journey, if you will, to try and bring up every badass line that Mike Eagle has. Do you say spit?
You could.
You could? Okay. I don't mean, I it's jargon, but I don't know the correct lingo, if you will.
Right.
Every awesome line that he has coined. Let's go with Let's go spit. Sounds better.
Okay, I like it.
It's more tough, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a leather jacket term, I guess.
Mhm.
But so I wanted to focus on just a couple different songs, and even not the entire song. Just going through and reading, some of the lyrics. The first song I wanted to focus on was Ziggy Starship. Wow, Ziggy Starfish is the actual name of the song, and then in parentheses, anti-anxiety raps. And this comes off of one of his one of his earlier EPs in 2015. He says, "Walk uncharted lands with no squad. Spots my ancestors picked cotton. They want me to carry their customs when I know the truth is postmodern. I don't walk like an Egyptian. Don't talk like I be pimpin'. There's in-groups and there's out-groups, and I believe in making distinctions. I'm just smiling and offer you greetings, hopefully with no pretense. My aim's to honor your physical and leave room for all your secrets. We should all play a big game of Scrabble, and every word a confession," and then he spells the word anxious. So I think the first thing that I wanted to focus on in this one was walk uncharted lands with no squad, and then he spots his ancestors. They want him to carry his customs when he knows the truth is postmodern. And I think when I was doing a little bit of research on these, the first thing that struck me is walk uncharted lands with no squad. That instantly made me think of in his song when he says, "Fuck Redding, California." Shit's pretty racial there. I just had a buddy of mine that was in Redding, California, a white dude. And he came back, and one of the first things he said was like, "Damn, those people are racist." Even he noticed it. So I think it's funny that Mike Eagle is kind of referencing both sides of it, because he's saying, walking in uncharted lands with no squad, like there's most places in the U.S., Mike, mid-30s black man can walk into it at almost any town in the U.S., and there's not a lot of that he has to worry about in that parameter. You know what I mean? There obviously are plenty of places that, yes, there is plenty of racism to be had, that even walking into said place, I'm sure there's a couple spots. I mean, we know of Redding, California. He references that one. Shit's pretty racial there. But whenever he says, when I know the truth is postmodern, he knows that there has been progress made. There has been things happening. However, he goes straight from that into, I don't walk like an Egyptian. Don't talk like I be pimpin'. He's almost referencing the fact, like he still doesn't fit into the modern day, what would it be? The stereotype of a black man, if you will.
Right. Or at least a rapper.
At the very least, a rapper, yes. I mean, because whenever he says, "Don't talk like I be pimpin'," I'm sure there's been many times where someone's like, "So what do you do?" And he's like, "I'm a rapper." Like, really? Where are your baggy clothes, young man? Like, I'm sure he's had that conversation 1,000 times, because he goes straight from that to there's in groups, there's out groups, and I believe in making distinctions. And that kind of makes me think that, he would kind of, maybe he would be, he knows full well that he is in one of those groups. The reason he wants to make the distinction, and I feel like he wants to make the distinction because he's probably in the out group. And that probably has a whole lot to do with the type of rap that he goes about. I mean, the way he carries himself, the subject matter. That there's probably a lot of rappers out there that are like, "Yeah, I don't want anything to do with you. Like you're just gonna come in my song and you're gonna try to, solve global warming. Like, fuck you, dude." I want to rap about champagne. But I think it's funny at the very end, and this is one of those areas where his major in college being psychology, when he says we should all play a big Scrabble game and make every word a confession, and then he spells out the word anxious. Anxiety is something that, I mean, this song especially, anxiety raps, but anxiety is something that Mike Eagle references quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
In a lot of his songs. And I think I'd love to get your take on this, because once again, I mean, I'll reference it absolutely. Like I by proxy, I do not wish to call myself an authority on rap. I don't feel 98% of the time that it wasn't for me to begin with. So I'm kind of piggybacking on whatever was there to begin with. I'm enjoying the art, but 98% of the time, like I said, it wasn't about me. It wasn't written for me. Mike Eagle even says in one of his songs, trying to reach black kids in a room full of white. And
Right.
yeah, a lot of times, I mean, especially with lyrics like this, I mean, whenever I think of anxiety versus what I know full well, a young black individual goes through coming up, especially through the game and the things that they're surrounded by, the things that they're told, like, no, you have to do it this way. The amount of anxiety that puts on him. Like I said, I'd love to get your take, because seeing transparency in rappers is something that we don't see a lot of times. And as far as what it means to you, when a rapper shows transparency like this, when they show vulnerability.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to gravitate towards rappers and artists in general that are like that, because I can relate to anxiety and to being in the out group or whatever. I don't have a bunch of champagne lying around, so it's like instantly it's like I feel like there's a connection, always. So yeah, what was the question?
Well, that was basically it. I mean, it was, it's one of those things where, someone shows you a picture, someone shows you a photograph, you instantly try to find yourself.
Right.
That's just human nature. I guess representation is almost the conversation that we're having, and things like that. Like, whenever he raps about anxiety, when he raps about loneliness, when he raps about, feeling like you're an individual, or feeling like your voice doesn't mean as much as it should, or any of those things. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's honestly a breath. It's a breath of fresh air, because in rap, a lot of times you don't have that transparency. A good friend of mine, Jason, who's been on the podcast, we used to talk back in the day that rappers almost approach music like a boxer, where, when you hear a boxer talking about his upcoming match, he's talking about, like, I'm the best in the world. I'm going to beat the shit out of him. I'm going to come out on top. A lot of times that's how rap is approached, is that I'm the best rapper. I have the best crew. I have the most money. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's all for art. It's all for show. It's all entertainment. I have no problem with that. But it is nice to then take that same medium and we can utilize it in a very different way, like Mike Eagle is doing, like Milo is doing, like a lot of cats out there are doing. Go ahead.
No, I was disagreeing.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I mean, even whenever you get a guy like, oh shit, he just had a fucking show on Comedy Central himself, in his, like, hanging out in his basement. Fuck, what was his name? Danny Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Even going about rap like a guy like Danny Brown, like, that motherfucker's crazy and hilarious. And I mean, that's some rap that, like, you are getting some amount of transparency, because that's who that guy is, that's the goofball that he is. But at the same time, it's just a different form. I mean, like, that's the beauty of something like rap, where it can become 30 different things at the same time. I mean, even albums for Mike Eagle, different songs are sounding completely different.
Right.
Next song I wanted to talk about was Golden Age of Raps, off of Dark Comedy, which came out in 2014. He says, we should invest in inner ear monitors and start our own niche and gain little weird followers. Yeah, let's make the flyest orthotics and make decent movies out of Alan Moore comics. You can use Facebook to learn gang signs, and creepers can stalk all their exes at the same time. If your rap career ain't hitting, you can rap over videos of kittens. It's the golden age. Tell the internet how you got fucked over and buy a minivan with 17 cup holders. Legal opiates, have yourself a fever dream, and you can watch a video of the Bible's deleted scenes. and nobody ever has to pay for anything, which is pretty cool because everybody's unemployed. I think one of the first lines I wanted to hit in this one is, like setting up. It's always so funny with storytelling. I mean, you want to set up your context, you want to set up your location, you want to set up. And for this one, the context we have is we should invest in inner ear monitors and get little weird followers. Like, all right, and we're off and running. But then, as far as the call to action in that is to make super good insoles, is where he wants to go from there. Have the flyest orthotics, which I think is really interesting because, you know, when you take like Jordans or like any other shoe brand, you know, that has the logo or the brand on the outside, he's talking about making the flyest insoles that literally no one will ever see. I mean, this is epitome of Open Mike Eagle right here. This is some good shit. But I thought you might be one for the next line because we should make decent movies out of Alan Moore comics. And I had to look up Alan Moore because I have to confess I didn't actually know who he was right off the bat. But I after looking him up, found out that he hates every movie that has been made based off of one of his books. And it also sucked going through there because like 2 of my favorite movies were in there. So
Which ones?
Well, I mean, Watchmen was a really fucking good movie in my opinion. I don't know. Apparently Alan Moore did not appreciate it. I also did not read his book. I'm sure it's a lot better than the movie. I don't doubt that. So, but I thought that, I mean, obviously, you know, Mike Eagle is a big film buff and he's a big, I guess just movie nerd is a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
So to make the statement, we should make decent movies out of Alan Moore comics. I thought that was kind of a slight. Like he's on Alan Moore's side on this one.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
What are some more Alan Moore movies? Do you know?
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Probably did he not do
V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta? There you go. Yeah,
that was another one because I was like, damn it, that movie's incredible.
It's a good movie, but also having never read the book. I can only imagine. I mean, you know, it's the same way with any book that's turned into a movie. You only have an hour and a half to 2 hours to, you know,
right.
You know.
That's a great point because it usually takes me like 5-6 weeks to read a book. So.
Oh yeah, I read about a page a day. Then I forget what I just read, so I'm just like, well, I guess I got to start again tomorrow.
Out of that 5 to 6 weeks read time, I mean, like 3 weeks of it was rereading. So, you know, whenever I say I read a book once, I actually read it like 4 times, technically. I think one of my favorite lines at the end of this verse at the end of this cipher. Ooh,
that's a fun one.
That is a fun one. Cipher. Is whenever he said you can watch a video of the Bible's deleted scenes, when he's talking about like how the internet has changed things so much. And this is even, I mean, what is this, 2015 is whenever this song came out. I mean, like, it's even so funny now to think like from 2015 to 2020 how much advance that we've seen in just the internet alone. I'm not even talking about like outside like laptops and cell phones and all that shit. Literally talking about just the internet itself. How much has changed in 5 years. And it's going, I mean, in 3 years, it's just going to keep speeding up how quickly things change. But it's funny whenever he's talking about how you can watch a video of the Bible's deleted scenes. It's almost funny because last time I visited my parents, I went to church with them. How many people sitting in church instead of having their Bible open literally just had their iPad or their cell phone out, and like they were like scrolling, like that's how they were using the Bible because like they can make notes in there and like they're all saved and it's all integrated and with their Gmail and whatnot. But I thought that was funny that like anymore you don't even have to own a Bible. You could just go on YouTube and watch its deleted scenes, like, you know, all the shit that didn't make it in the Bible. Like that's
and also when you're reading, I was thinking about sort of more like the I don't know if they're conspiracy theories, but like the weird, weird interpretations of what the Bible actually, means. So, and it reminded me of this one time that I was riding the trolley and I was accosted by some very nice man, um, who was shaming me for not being Jewish enough. And then he told me to read, and maybe this is true, I don't know, to read the Bible, and the words in red are what Jesus actually said. And I was like, well, I've never read a Bible. Maybe the words are in red. But that's kind of what it made me think about, that lovely guy, and also just sort of how it's interpreted.
Oh, absolutely. Because so he was giving you a hard time for not being Jewish enough?
Yeah, like I was, what did he say? Like I was denying my heritage, by not being as Jewish as I could be.
That's an interesting one, because if you were as Jewish as you could be, you wouldn't give a shit about Jesus. So, I don't know. He didn't really actually, I don't think he knew what he was.
I think he was just having way too much fun that day, And he saw me, a nice bearded boy, and
Yeah. He instantly, like, he was looking for your curls. He was.
Exactly. This guy knows what's up. I'm gonna give him some shit,
Yeah, because like literally, I've heard someone say before that like in the Jewish community, they literally refer to the New Testament as Jewish fan fiction. Like they don't even pay attention to that part with the Jesus words in red. Like they don't even fuck with that, dude. Like,
Right.
It's all old school for them. I mean, there's plenty of people doing that in the rap game. They're like, nah, I don't listen to that. If it's any newer than 98, I ain't listening to that shit.
True.
So, it comes and goes, ebb and flow, tides and whatnot. But the next song that I went, well, actually, before we go any further, that last line that he says, nobody has to pay for anything, and it's pretty cool because everybody's unemployed. That line is fucking hilarious. Because this is a little bit of foreshadowing of the old coronavirus, if you will.
It's true.
It's pretty cool because everybody's unemployed, so our next song here, we're going Joestar off of his newest album, and this is one I know you were excited to go through. Off of his newest album, which is called Anime, Trauma, and Divorce. And this one came out this year in 2020. And I did find a tweet directly related to this song that he had made. And he said, I'm a Joestar, can sound like a shallow song, but it really comes from a deep need to find an external source of strength. It's one of my prayer songs, like a celebrity reduction or neighborhood protection. So two of his other songs that he has, he's literally saying that those three songs, he's referring to them as prayer songs, which I found really interesting. Because when you start to think of what prayer is, when you think of Catholic prayer, of repeating, of mantra, of even maybe Hindu and Buddhist prayer, very similar, very mantra, very repeating. Christian prayer, where you are literally speaking to a deity with your eyes closed at the dinner table while the rolls get warm or while the rolls get cold. So to consider songs like this, like with Joestar and Celebrity Reduction and Neighborhood Protection, three different of his songs that he, like, I'm sure there's more. These are just the ones that he's claiming at the moment. But to refer to them as prayer songs, and like he says, it can sound like a shallow song, but it comes from a deep need to find an external source of strength.
Right.
And once again, we're seeing that transparency with him. We're seeing that vulnerability. And this is one. So that I didn't even bring up the lyrics of the song because based on that tweet, I wanted to go like the intro of the song is. He says, so this is my this is what I need to do. I know I need to do something to feel better. This is it. So stop asking me all these questions. Stop trying to take this away from me. That's how he starts the song. And, you know, like I said, I mean, once I started to go through the lyrics and even listening to the song, I never would have considered it shallow by any means.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when we started talking about doing this episode together, this was the first song that you said we should hit this one.
Right.
I mean, like, I don't know if you have them pulled up or anything, but are there any lyrics off the top of your head that from this song? Because I have them pulled up as well. I just that's the point or the part in this one that I wanted to focus on was the way he starts it, because, you know, whenever he goes into saying, you know, I need this, don't take this from me, to then, you know, like as his tweet said, like, I need this, I need external strength. That intro just made perfect sense in that.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing the song references quite a bit. I mean, like, the album is called, you know, Anime and Trauma and Divorce. From what I can gather, Joestar, he's referencing being an anime character.
Mm-hmm.
I think, because he talks at one point about JoJo, and he's talking about, like, you know, 4 years and 5 seasons. It's his turn. In this chapter, JoJo is African. He's saying he's the protagonist. It's set in South Central LA. I mean, this is one of those things where, like, he needs this this external source of strength. There it is. I was trying to remember what the statement was. He needs this external source of strength, and it's almost like he's living in his head in this moment. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to be able to view himself as something bigger than he is.
Right.
It's the way I'm getting at it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I haven't really watched that many episodes. I watched a few of the first season after this song came out, and yeah, the guy, you know, Joseph Joestar, he just starts off as like some weak little dude, you know, and he feels he has to gain power to survive in his household, who's, you know, being taken over by this stranger who just suddenly becomes adopted, and is like it's like, you know, giving him shit all the time, you know. So and then, you know, I think as the show progresses, he gets this power, and then there's like all this magic, and it becomes very bizarre. as the name of the anime, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's all about, you know, gaining some sort of power and taking control of your chaotic life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and from what I've seen in the pictures, at least, it seems like the protagonist is different in every season, every couple seasons or something. So
interesting. Okay.
It's Mike Eagle's turn, you know. There
we go. Yeah, I can dig it. Qualifiers.
It's a fun one.
I think that's the next song we should get into. Also off of Dark Comedy. I think Dark Comedy might be my favorite album by him, honestly.
I think so too.
Because it has Doug Stamper with Hannibal Buress.
Mm-hmm.
It has Qualifiers. It has, what else was on that one? I just had it pulled up too.
Let's see.
It's got Golden Age of Raps, like we just talked about. Qualifiers. Dark Comedy Morning Show. Oh, Informations that he does with Cool AD. That song is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Cool AD, I think I'm planning right now in season 2 actually doing a Cool AD song. And one of his ciphers that he does. Fantastic song. But there's a lot there. I mean, it's like a 6-minute song with no chorus and no breaks. Just it's a big one. But yeah, Qualifiers. He says, I make jazz jokes, so I'm flat broke, mad at Lost and all that black smoke. Fuck you if you're a white man that assumes I speak for black folks. Fuck you if you're a white man who thinks I can't speak for black folk. Let that soak in your rap quotes. Now, I listened to Mike Eagle on a podcast. He was on the Hard Times podcast.
Okay.
And they mainly talked about professional wrestling.
Yeah, apparently he's big into wrestling.
He's very big into wrestling. So they mainly talked about that almost the entire time. But at one point, I think it was Matt on the Hard Times podcast asked him, he was like, are there any lyrics that like really get people just like either irked or that people are super into or things like that? And Mike Eagle said, absolutely, like right off the, like instantly, he said, it's that line, fuck you if you're a white man that assumes I speak for black folks. Fuck you if you're a white man who thinks I can't speak for black folks. And he said that it's always the same looking dude that comes up to him at a show and is like, that offended me. Which, like, the guy I'm picturing in my head, I know is not the guy that's doing it. Like, I'm picturing a guy with like jean shorts with a polo tucked in, and like,
I was thinking cargo shorts, but shorts.
dude, cargo jean shorts, New Balance with a pair of quitters on. That just like he's constantly pulling up, and like they're not, they're fucking quitters, dude. Get rid of those things, man. Those are for, oh man. But I mean that line in general. I mean, like, does that not basically sum up this ridiculous fight that has to be fought? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, fuck you if you assume that I speak for black people. Fuck you if you think I can't speak for black people. Like, I can sit here right now and I can make a statement about white people. That doesn't mean I speak for them, but as one, I know something about it. And that's the really ridiculousness of whenever you start to talk about any person of color and the consistent, ridiculous systemic problem that continues to go on. That like, why not? And why should he? Why can't he?
Why does it have to be that expectation, you know, at all?
Yeah. And that last line that he throws it, well, also, just real quick, Lost is one of the only shows that I've ever gotten into that it wasn't either a cartoon or a comedy.
I was forced to watch Lost after it had come out because we watched it all on DVD and it was a nightmare.
Fair enough. But
whatever
he says, go ahead.
No, I'm saying we were just binging several episodes a day, so it was rough on me.
Yeah. Well, dude, those episodes are like, are they 45-minute episodes?
I think so, yeah. Without commercials, yeah. I think
yeah, because it was an hour show, right? Yeah. So episodes are like 45 minutes. Yeah, what he says that second line, mad at Lost and that black smoke, that was literally when I stopped watching. Like, I never finished Lost. I didn't finish it because whenever it got to that, where all of a sudden, like, wait, it's just like a black magic cloud.
And then it gets even weird after that, if I remember.
Yeah, then there's like a fucking polar bear walking around.
Yeah, there's a polar bear walking around, and then they're like in purgatory or something. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I should have gone with my gut when they found that fucking hatch. I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know. I should have gone with my gut, but I stuck with it. I was like, whatever, I'm this invested. And then that black smoke showed up, and I was like, fuck you. I'm out. You can't pitch me a legitimate movie or like a legitimate show and then all of a sudden turn it into Harry Potter halfway through it. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And
the lazy Harry Potter too. Just a sort of some shapeless, vague monster, you know?
Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, the only reason I kept watching that show for a while is because the portly fella with the super curly hair. He was so cool.
He was fun, yeah.
I mean, I wish I could remember his name. He's a really cool guy. We'll tag him when we post this. How's that sound? Yeah. We'll give him some credit.
Hopefully nothing bad happened to him, or else this will be awkward.
Yeah. And if anything bad happened to him, I hope it was just like a DUI or something. Like it wasn't anything like too serious.
Stub the toe or something. It's fine.
But next song I want to get into is How to Be Super Petty to Your Ex. And this comes out of his series 30 Days, 30 Songs that came out in 2016. I think this is honestly one of the funniest songs that I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, it's great.
I mean, because, like, obviously they're common, like, Fly to the Concords and, like, shit like that. Like, there's, like, Bo Burnham is another one. That dude makes fucking hilarious songs. But I mean, I'm gonna keep those in their own category. What I'm talking about is a song that, like, it's a song, and like it's on an album by a cat that's just releasing music. Like, he is a comedian. He has everything going for him. I don't doubt that. I don't want to negate that at all. But this is honestly one of the funniest songs I've ever heard. The premise of the song being exactly the title: how to be super petty to your ex. And he's just going through and he's just giving some advice. And he says, give your new mate your old mate's pet name, sew it on a t-shirt, and wear that shit to a Nets game. Pull up stealthily next to them in the left lane, but don't acknowledge them at all. Which, like, I mean, so far, just in the just couple things that the easiest one is give your new mate your old mate's pet name. However, I feel like that would do more harm than good.
So yeah, if the new mate found out, for sure.
Yeah. Like, if I referred to my wife by an old fling's nickname, I don't think she'd take that information very well.
Unless she's in on it, or they're in on it.
Yeah. Unless. But then, like, to sew that pet name on a t-shirt and wear it to a basketball game, I mean, there's a lot of planning. And then to pull up stealthily next to them in the left lane, like, did you just happen upon them, or have you been following them for the perfect opportunity where you get stopped at a red light exactly next to them? Mm-hmm. That's a tough one, but it would go over super well if you did it.
Oh, yeah.
He keeps going to say, American Idol, go win the next one. On TV, shout out all your exes except one. Let everyone know you bask in your freedom. Tell your grandmother to point and laugh if she sees them. I think that might actually be the easiest one.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've seen my own mother go mama bear. Where, like, I didn't think my mom gave a rat's ass about my dating life. And then, like, got my heart broken just a little bit, and my mom ran into her in public. And the story that came back to be about how my mom reacted in the whole, like, good to see you scenario. Like, damn, I didn't think you cared at all. Like, when I told you I got dumped, you were like, But, so I feel like that's probably the easiest one. Tell your grandmother to point and laugh if she sees him. Grandmas love that shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my grandma would be totally into that.
I feel like your grandma would cross the street to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah. You'd cross the street and tell it to her face.
And then the last couple lines he has here is, whenever they call, you can answer it, but don't speak. Make sex noises, then cancel it. Take it to the next level. You can sample it. Think, hear, be creative. I think that's basically his whole mantra of this song is just like, don't rule anything out. Be as petty as possible. Go above and beyond. Get family members involved. Get national TV and professional sports involved. I mean, whatever you can do. And it just makes me think, like, every now and again you see, like, people on the Jumbotron when they proposed at, like, a sporting event. How badass would it be to break up with someone that way? Like, it's like, oh, it'd be absolutely horrible. Like, that would be, like, the meanest possible thing you could ever do, and you would go down in history as a giant asshole. But it'd be super badass, though.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Like, especially if, like, you were already married and you got down on one knee and took their ring off and then just, like, headed up the flight of stairs. Like, don't even say anything. And then, like, on the Jumbotron, the guy doing the animations gets super behind it like a bowling alley, and he shows, like, a heart breaking and, like, yeah. That'd be pretty sick. Or you could just do it in a bowling alley. That'd be another good place to break up with somebody, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Right when the turkey goes across the screen,
Yeah. Because, I mean, I guess it could get confusing, like, Yeah, like you roll, like you get your turkey. What's it called? A gobbler, a turkey?
It's one of those, and that's when you get three strikes in a row or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, something about large fowl.
Yeah.
But they always show, maybe it's a gobbler or something, I don't know. But when you get that, then you turn around and you do like this with your arms. You go, it's over.
We're done.
And then they're like, yeah, he pretty much kicked my ass in bowling. And then you just leave. You just walk out. It's over. That's how you do it. That's how you be super petty to now you're really recent ex. I was telling someone the other day that every now and again I refer to my wife as my ex-girlfriend, and she's not on board with that. So I changed her name on my phone to current wife. I figured that would be better. So. But right on, man. Mike Eagle, dude. If anyone out there that's listening to this is not familiar with Mike Eagle, dude, just throw him on shuffle. Like I like. There's obviously the songs that we've referenced today. I mean, these are specific songs I would say like these are good ones, and they have great lyrics to them. He's an incredibly deep young man. Check out his podcast. Check out his Instagram. Catch him on Instagram Live every now and again. Check him out on Facebook. He's an interesting cat, and he's very. It's very easy to listen to him, and it's very easy to grow whenever you actually like are listening to him. He's also a fucking goofball, so half the time he's just having a good time. I love whenever he goes on Instagram Live because the camera's like right here, and he's just like he's doing some DJ stuff. I love it, man. He's so fucking funny. And also this is episode, I think, what is this, episode 11, I think? Episode 12. I would say out of every episode I've done, once again, I'm fanboying again about the artist we're talking about. None of it will ever be as bad, those like whenever I was fanboying over Steve Winwood.
Oh, okay.
That got bad. I was fanboying a lot. But anyway, now that we've done that, every single episode, we get to a point in the episode where we have our local band spotlight. And I wanted to give you the opportunity because I brought up a little bit ago that Etienne has an art studio in Chula Vista outside of San Diego. And he shares that space with some really, really talented cats that are working in there. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of pitch what they have going on. The cats that share your studio space with you, because we're absolutely, when this episode comes out, we're going to put your artwork on blast and everything like that. Like, well, no, not on blast. That means we'll make fun of it.
Yeah, please, it'll hurt me.
We'll be gentle.
Thank you.
But no, I wanted you to tell us about the cats like Aphrodisiac and all those cats like that are hanging out at the studio and what they got going on, because those fools are busy as hell, dude.
Oh yeah. Talk about constantly updating Instagram and stuff like that. But yeah, we got David who goes by Aphrodisiac. He's a really good producer. My buddy Richie, multi-instrumentalist, does,
hell yeah.
Plays guitar and stuff on some of the songs. He recently came out with a new solo album.
Okay.
And he's called I don't know what he's called. It's called Cosmo, I think. CSM. Okay. So yeah, they're doing a lot of cool stuff and talk about features, man. They're getting a ton of really good local guys to be to feature on their songs, Yeah. But check them out, Aphrodisiac, Godbody Mondi, Melosi, all those guys, Blazing Suns Entertainment. That's kind of what they call themselves.
Yeah.
All sorts of videos and music videos, album stuff, that kind of stuff. So they're killing it.
I love it.
Yeah, they're really talk about having too much fun. They're really having too much fun.
Yeah, they're having a lot of fun, dude. I mean that art rap party.
Oh yeah.
That you guys threw at your studio. I mean that shit was so much fucking fun, dude. Because I mean, not even just in like we're partying. Because I don't think anyone even got drunk. Like
possibly the drunkest person there.
Well, you're sitting in the corner drinking 40, so yeah, that's good. No, that didn't happen. But no, it was fantastic because like it was just such a family atmosphere. There was so much love in the air. There was so much love in the room.
Mhm.
There was so much support.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like everybody that came out was just so mad into what was going on, and I think Monty was the one DJing for most of the night, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, he was. I think David did a little bit of a set.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, man, they're really good guys, really really kind hearts, you know, and really talented.
yeah, exceptional.
And they can throw a great art party. You know?
Art rap party, hell yeah, man! Because an art rap party's so smart. But right on, Etienne. It was fantastic to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll have to have you back again soon. Who would you like to focus on next time?
Maybe I don't know, R.A.P. Ferreira, maybe, or you know, formerly known as Milo. That'd be kind of fun.
Okay. Well, I mean, we could just do that cat in general,
yeah,
and just
all his stuff, yeah,
all his projects. Because what's that? Lotus. Doesn't he have another project called Lotus something?
I think. Well, there's Flying Lotus, but that's a different guy. But he also did the Oyster Hotel, right?
Oyster Hotel. That's what I was thinking of.
The early ones. But yeah, him or some old school punk band or something, and I could tell stories about me in middle school, you know.
Oh, that's what we should do, because I've never seen Xavier so excited to introduce me to anything as the day he made me watch SLC Punk.
Oh, classic. I watched it the other day.
I will never forget when it got to the end of the movie and like, you know, like the end credits are rolling and I was like, so he like just goes to work for his dad? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect because
so he failed.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all failures. We're all posers, you know.
Oh my god! Dude, that was, I mean, like in episode what was that? Episode 9, I think it was, where we talked about Slayer. I spent the first 10 minutes of the episode just making sure everyone knew I'm not a poser. I would love to be a metalhead. I'm not. I would love to be one. I'd love to be an honorary one just for a day. That'd be really cool. But I'm not even going to pretend that I'm a metalhead. Like, I love metal. I was listening to it literally all day today while I was building a countertop in my van. Like, absolutely exceptional. But yeah, we'll have to. I think, dude, next time when we have you on here, we're gonna let's do like a best of punk.
Very cool.
Best of punk, and we'll call that episode "I Ain't No Goddamn Son of a Bitch." That's what we'll call that episode.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like
The Misfits.
Yeah.
Actually,
a lot of those cats turned out to be kind of shitheads, so that'll be kind of fun too.
yeah, you know, it's one, you know, it's kind of a good news, bad news, I guess. You know, what was the old saying? You know, pick heroes that are younger than you because you want to die before they turn out to be really shitty people or whatever. I forget how it goes, but yeah, I mean, Danzig's been a piece of shit from the beginning.
Oh yeah, from day one. Yeah.
But then you got that guy with like the hair thing, and you got the other guy that's like a big conservative dude and whatever. But at any rate,
Yeah.
we'll mix up. You know, we'll get some Ramones in there. We'll get some. I don't know. We'll get a little bit of everybody.
Yeah, some Dead Kennedys, some whatever. You know, we'll have fun.
We'll pepper everybody in.
Heavily peppered, like the whole thing.
Like the guy at Olive Garden was deaf. You said when like 6 times, and he just kept going. Right on. Well, Xavier, it was fantastic to have you on here. Thank you so much. We'll have to have you back again soon, as I said. It was a pleasure. We'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to episode 11 with my homeboy Etienne, also known as Xavier, also known as... I'm sure he's got another nickname. Did I have another? I don't think I ever knew another nickname for him. Maybe let's start calling him Papa Bear. How does that sound? Xavier Etienne Papa Bear. Anywho, we're gonna have to have him back on. It was a pleasure to have him. Great kid, fantastic artist. When we post this episode on Instagram, we'll make sure to link. We have quite a few different things to link to in this post about this episode. But thank you all for tuning in. I just wanted to check in with you guys, and just real quick before we go, I wanted to let you know, this being episode 11, we are 9 episodes away from the season finale, episode 20, which is Drug Stories from Concert Goers Like You. If you have the opportunity, go to anchor.fm/The Elephant Wire Podcast. In the top right corner, you'll see a little button that says message. You'll be able to leave us a voice message. Tell us a funny fucking drug story. Do it. We need it. We can't wait to hear it. And episode 20, we're going to string together as many of those as we possibly can. We've gotten a few from the DMs. We've gotten a few here and there already. But I want to be able to put you guys on the podcast yourselves personally. So go to anchor.fm/The Elephant Wire Podcast. Leave us a voice message. Leave us a fucking hilarious drug story, however funny it may be. As I always say, though, if you are a Fish fan, we're just going to have an asterisk next to it. We're still going to share it. It is what it is. But you were at a Fish show. We get it. But anyway, as always, fuck the man, hail Satan, hug your mom. We'll catch you guys next time.